Alrighty, well, hello everybody. Happy Friday. Today is cooking class with Steph and Elisa. And what are we making today? We are making fruit salsa. How exciting. It's very exciting. We love fruit salsa and we love it this time of year, especially when it's so hot. We've got August weather in the beginning of June. So hopefully that's not telling for the rest of the month, but time will tell. So all right, so what we're going to do first, if you are new to cooking class, we put the recipe in the Chronicle. Elisa puts it on page 21 of the Chronicle, so it's got everything that you need. We have all of our fruits. We have strawberries, kiwis, mangoes, pineapple today, and then a few other things, lemon juice, cinnamon and sugar, and our tortilla chips. So we're going to make fruit salsa, and we'll show you how to make on the cheap tortilla chips. So,
and I don't know about you guys, but I'm always excited about a healthy dessert, right? We all have a sweet tooth, and if we could stay away a little bit from the cake and the cookies and have something that's healthy, is another benefit to this recipe.
Yes, and you could do, we picked just general corn chips today. You could do, the darker corn chips, whole wheat chips. You could do gluten-free tortillas if you were gluten-free. So there's lots of different choices when you go to the store. And we were even talking about before class about adding sugar. If you were diabetic or you were just watching your sugars, you don't have to put sugar on the chips. So we'll do maybe some with cinnamon sugar and some without. And so there we are. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do is cut up our fruit.
And our fruit has already been washed.
Yes, wash your fruit. Strawberries, I think, are on the Dirty Dozen where they're one of the chemical, or they spray.
Yes, berries in general. They really say, that Dirty Dozen, it's a good thing. You can Google Dirty Dozen on the internet, and it will show berries as being a fruit that is highly sprayed, and it absorbs it really quickly. So I do tend to lean towards more organic berries in my own repertoire of food at home. So
yeah, if you don't, sometimes organic is a little bit more expensive, but you could pick the ones that maybe are a little bit more, like a strawberry that it's more heavily sprayed, that maybe you buy those organic, but you buy oranges, not because it comes in its own wrapper. Food for thought.
Bananas maybe too. Sometimes I won't buy organic bananas because they're in the peel. But
yeah, so we're just chopping up our strawberries. I don't know, it says 8 ounces. The thing with fruit salsas, you don't have to they just get a box at the store and say, that's about it. It's not going to be real juicy like or runny like a tomato salsa. It's more of a light, fresh salsa. So, all right. So those of you just hopping on, we are just chopping up our fruit, starting with our strawberries. And depending on how you like your fruits, so 'tis the season for strawberries. Some things might not be as easily found in the middle of winter. So if you were making fruit salsa in the middle of winter, you might not find fresh pineapple or a fresh mango or kiwi. So you could use other things. Apples, I'll put green apples, Granny Smith apples in my fruit salsa, give it a nice crunch. Those are a little bit more readily available, non-summer season here in Wisconsin. I also, sometimes if I can't find maybe a kiwi, I might put a little jam to give it that similar texture. So there's really no right or wrong for fruit salsa. You could also, we're going to eat it with chips today, but you could use it as a topping for yogurt or for cake or something like that. Too. Look at how big these strawberries are. If you love strawberries, now is like the prime time to get them.
Absolutely.
Okay. I don't know. Is that 8 ounces or should we just do them all?
Why not?
Maybe we'll do them all and then Elisa and I'll eat it all. Or our kids will eat it all. That's where all my food goes. Every 5 minutes our kids say, what's for snack? What's for lunch?
I'm hungry.
I'm hungry. Like, are you really hungry or just because we're all stuck at home? right?
Yeah. Yeah, Stephanie's chopping up the fruit. You can also make like veggie salsa. I mean, there's so many, you know, I try to shy away from buying salsa in the store only because a lot of times it does have a lot of the preservatives or the extra salt that we don't need. So there's lots of recipes out there for fresh salsa recipes. Great veggie ones. I've done ones where I've added like a little bit of vinegar and again, a touch of sugar, sometimes no sugar. Yeah, and it goes, I don't know, it's just exciting to try things that aren't always in a can or jar or box at the store. They're constantly telling us how fresh is so important, right, for our diets. So I think in general, the American diet probably doesn't get enough fruits and vegetables like we should. So
the best thing about cooking at home is you can try it before it's done.
yes,
I always like to try my berries.
Stephanie likes to snack. She's a snacker lady. Yes, she's a snacker lady.
All right, so there we go. So here we are. So we've got fresh strawberries all chopped up. So then we bought, like it says on the list, kiwis, mangoes, and pineapple. So we'll just continue cutting.
Yeah. Do you want me to cut the pineapple?
Sure, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Whoopie. And if you couldn't find a fresh pineapple in the store, you could use canned pineapple. That's okay. It's going to be a little bit more runny because it's cooking longer. But that's okay. A little juice in the bottom of your salsa is okay.
And she's right. So you make this big batch and you're like, oh, I don't want to eat it with just chips. You can add it to your yogurt. You can add it to the top of a cake, or you could add it to, I don't know, eat it plain, you know. Have it with your cereal, throw it on your pancakes, muffins, you know, anything like that.
Mix it with a couple scoops of healthy granola.
Yes, granola. You could add like chia seeds or a little, or throw it into a smoothie the next day. Anything like that. A salad. You mean salad tastes great with fruit on it.
Well, and Lisa was saying, you know, there's no real preservatives here, so it's not going to last very long. It's unfortunately, well, it doesn't last long in our houses because we have kids, but if you make a big batch and you had 8 ounces of strawberries and thought, ooh, that looked like too much for me, you could either cut it in half or use it for something else, because it'll just get, you know, kind of mushy after a couple days in the fridge. It's best fresh. So good for a party too, if you're having some family over or a neighbor over for coffee or something. So chop, 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 chop.
Don't touch
chop
your
finger.
Yeah, that would have been good for the video. Excuse me, gotta go to the hospital.
Mix it in with the red blood. Just kidding.
Just kidding.
All right. Mango, you can buy frozen mangoes. I've never tried fruit salsa with frozen fruit, but it's worth a shot. My guess is it would just be a little bit more runny. Yeah, so if you like a runnier salsa, then that's okay.
I have never cut a mango, so. Ooh, that smells really good. Yeah.
We're not very equipped here at the senior center. It's quite humorous that we have this huge kitchen, but not the right tools for cooking.
Yes.
So we're making do. Oh, but I have seen cut up, ready to go mango, ready to go frozen pineapple and so forth at the grocery store. So you could grab that if you were in a pinch.
And that's another great option. Say, oh, I'm not going to be able to eat all this fruit. I live alone. You can buy frozen fruit of all kinds and take out what you need and portion it out. Frozen fruit actually is pretty healthy. It goes straight from, you know, fresh to frozen. And it's going to be better for you than the canned, nutritional wise, better for you than the canned fruits. So frozen fruit's a great way to go.
Yeah, often the canned stuff is in sugars or fructose, corn syrups or whatnot. So just watch that if sugar is an issue for you. Yep.
All right,
All right, that's a lot of chopping.
Yeah.
chopping, but
that's the easy part of the hardest part of the recipe, I should say, is all the chopping. But chopping can also be very relaxing. I find I like to chop food and think about what I'm making, and the kitchen should be fun. It should be an experience, you know, and make it your own, I feel like. So,
yep.
Yeah.
So there we go. So we don't really have a big bowl. So we're just mixing it here on our tray. Look at that, it looks so pretty. And that's it. That's fruit salsa right there. If you decide, oh, that looks like too much this or not enough that, you can kind of wing it. Obviously, taste test it. Let's see. Yep, looks good.
Lots of color. It's
And
so
can
good
you
to
see
see
that?
lots of color in your diet.
We got red, orange, yellow, and green. Beautiful. Throw a few blueberries in there, maybe. Well, those are getting cheaper at the store too, aren't they? All right. So there's fruit salsa.
And it does say, I think, that we're supposed to add a little lemon juice on the top.
You could add lemon juice to it too. That'll help the fruit stay a little bit fresher longer. Maybe
We do have that here.
Yeah, maybe we'll put some in a dish. Here, let me scoop it for you. We did wash our hands very well before class. Okay.
We might have to do two.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna add just a tiny bit of lemon in here.
So the lemon juice would work really well if you did use an apple. You know, sometimes when you cut an apple, they do get brown on the, you know, the inside parts. So yeah, look at that. If I were to serve this, I might refrigerate it before I serve it if it was a hot day. Otherwise, you know, it's ready to go now. Any questions while we, yeah, go ahead. Before we get there, I'm gonna rinse my hands quick.
Ooh, this is gonna be so tasty. All right. So I think the next part we're going to show you is how to do the pita chips.
Oh, correct. Yes.
I'll give us a dry tray here.
Yeah, like we said, we just bought the, you know, the cheapo ones. The white corn Laganderita brand, they're very, this is a big brand of tortilla. So these are corn tortillas. You could get non-corn tortillas. You could get blue ones. You could get gluten-free, whatever your favorite tortilla is. So we're gonna take those out. And I like to cut them in, they're all circular no matter what size they are. So I like to cut them like a pizza. So if you had a pizza slicer, you could just do that. If you didn't have a pizza or maybe you just wanted to rip them, you could do that too. We have just a little knife, so we're gonna just cut them in half and then in half again. Look at that. Bum, bada, bum. Yeah, so they're chip-like. Okay. So there's our little chips. So depending on, are you, you know, living at home alone? Are you having somebody over for a snack or, you know, a gathering? You decide how much you want, how many you want to make. These don't save all that well either. This is a recipe where you just make it and you eat it and, you know, it's ready to go. They'll save for maybe a day or two, maybe in a plastic bag, but they're nice and crunchy right when you make them. So I would just make as many as you felt like you could eat at that time, and then you can always make more later because they're very simple.
And look how cute they are. They're like this little
They're so
triangle.
cute. They're so cute. So then, I don't know, maybe we'll make a few more. We'll make the whole bag if our kids were here, right? Yikes. Well, we might as well because nobody, right? What are we gonna use them for? We'll make our homemade. Okay. Okay. So yeah, pizza cutter works really nicely. Otherwise, what's great about homemade is it's not perfect. I love imperfection. So yeah, look at how cute those are. So eeny, meeny, miny, mo. We'll cut them up, different sizes.
So they will actually crisp up in the oven. Okay. Oh, because they'll have a little water on them. So I was trying to figure out how we were going to crisp them. And when we put them in to cook, we'll put a little water over the top of them.
Yeah. I mean, they're not going to be as dried out as your normal tortilla chip that you would, the salty tortilla chips. But it's a little crunch with a little sweet, and I like it. You could eat the fruit salsa with just regular chips if this felt like too much work, certainly. Or if you had a favorite other, snacky thing. I like lentil chips. Yeah. We go for simple over here.
Sometimes the salty sweet taste is good too, right? If you wanted to take a salty tortilla, maybe you decided you didn't even want to put any cinnamon sugar on the actual pita chips. You just wanted to leave them plain. It's a great option too.
All right, so we got some big and some small. So once we get those cut, then here's our baking sheet. This is what we have. So we're gonna lay them in a single layer on the cookie sheet here.
I can do the other one.
Oh yes, good. At home, if you have a small cookie sheet or a big one, depends again how you're gonna do it.
And we don't need any kind of a spray in the pan.
I don't know about these.
Stick.
That's a good question.
Guess we'll find out if they stick.
Yes, I have at home. I use it's like Pampered Chef, the baking stones. That works really nicely for these, and I never spray anything on it. But if your pans stick, or you're
nervous about that,
yeah, maybe a little spritz of something, or you could put it on like a parchment paper, maybe. You could also do these in the toaster oven. Sometimes when it's 95 degrees out, you don't necessarily want to be turning your oven on. So if you have a small toaster oven, that works well. Don't use the regular toaster. But yeah, we heat or reheat in our toaster oven quite frequently when it's so hot. All right, so we're just sort of spreading them out. It's like a puzzle. It's good relaxation for your brain. I find that kids really like this, kids and adults. So if you have grandkids at home, this would be a fun activity and or, snack to have when they're around. Kids do well when they get to be a part of the food making process. They tend to eat better. And I think people, of all ages do. I'm more appreciative of the food when I had to prepare it and it took me so long, and it yeah. So we've got them all laid out in our pans. Everybody doing okay so far? All right, so I'm gonna get a little cup of water. I'll show you our fancy technique
for watering.
For sprinkling.
Well, yeah, and we'll need something for the cinnamon sugar. I was thinking you could use other, we're using cinnamon sugar today to sprinkle over these, but you might have another favorite spice or something that you'd like to try, and that's fine too.
So here's my fancy technique. Dip your fingers in the water and sprinkle it over the chips. And that's all I do. Sprinkle, sprinkle, get them slightly wet. You don't want to soak them because then they'll just get mushy and icky, but I just kind of dabble a few drops. My kids love this part. If you have one of those utensils where that's like a
spatula.
It has the rubber on the end. It's like for brushing meat or something, like
Yeah, kind of like a rubber brush, basically.
Yeah, like a rubber brush. Thank you. You could dip that in water and brush it over your tortilla chips, or yeah, use a finger and just sort of gently rub each one to make sure that it has a little water on it. There's really no fancy technique. Some people have those spritzers. You could spritz with a little olive oil or grapeseed oil instead of water if that was what was in your spritzer. Yeah, so we get them a little damp. And then before they dry, we do a little cinnamon and sugar mix. So in the recipe, it says, you know, how much cinnamon and how much sugar. Again, that's up to you. So it says mix half to 1 tablespoon of sugar and then a teaspoon of cinnamon. But if you wanted less sugar but more cinnamon, you could do that too. Or you could just sprinkle it on. Maybe your cinnamon was in a nice thing like this, or you had sugar in a similar thing. You could just put it right on there. But we're gonna follow the recipe the first time, and then we'll go from there. All right, so 1 teaspoon.
Might be easier.
Oh my goodness. Okay, let's find a bigger hole. There we go.
It's coming out slowly.
Yes. Yes,
That's about
good enough. Good enough. So then you could whisk it or just mix it with your finger or whatever. I'll mix it with a little tortilla here.
We just kind of split the sugar cinnamon in half. We're gonna each add some to our recipe here.
Yeah. There we go. So then we get it, and then we just sprinkle it on again with fingers or just a little shaky method. Da, da, da.
And the goal isn't really to completely cover them in sugar. It's more to give them just a tiny little sweet taste. I think sometimes we over sugar things, and this is just kind of a basic little nice flavor.
Because really you want the flavor, the star of the snack to be the fruit salsa. So it doesn't need to be oh, that's so sugary like a cookie. It's not. It's going to take away from the flavor of that. So then we got these, they're just slightly a little brown on there, and then they're ready to go. So what did we say? We said 400 degrees.
Yeah, I think 400 degrees, and it's about 3 to 4 minutes per side.
Mm-hmm.
So cook one side for about that, and then you flip them. I don't know if you necessarily have to flip them, but the recipe calls for it.
Yeah, it kind of depends on your pan. My baking stones, I do like to flip them. It sort of cooks differently than a regular pan. So you'll know. Like I said, they'll get a little bit crispy. So if you cook them on one side and you don't flip them, you take them out and they're kind of soft. Then you maybe flip them and then put them back in. And do that. So we'll try them. We'll put them in. Maybe Elisa can take 2 and we can open it up for questions if people have questions or thoughts, comments about anything. So here we cut a whole bag. I think it was 8-ounce tortilla. Let's see. What was the smallest bag? Oh, it was 16 ounces. So the smallest bag, we cut the whole thing and it filled. And it would fill about 3 pans. So that would be a lot of chips for 1 or 2 people. So I would do maybe half of that for 1 or 2 for a couple days worth of fruit salsa and chips. But maybe you really like chips and you want them all. And you could eat the chips with other things too. The chips go great with hummus or guacamole. Good time of year for guacamole. Regular salsa, kind of that sweet and salty mixture, yogurt, etc.
Now we wait.
So what are we doing next month? Did we decide?
Oh, yeah. We're going to talk about nutritional yeast next month. So again, Stephanie will probably be the star of that show because I will be learning right along with the rest of you. I've been reading up on it a little bit and some of the benefits of it, and I'm very excited to learn more about that.
Yes, it's one of those things that a lot of people don't know about. So we thought we'd enlighten everybody and talk about the great benefits of it. If you are a vegetarian, maybe you already know about it, or somebody that just is sort of in the know. I learned about it just a few years back and I was like, nutritional, what? I thought, like, I was a big baker and I knew all, of course, about bread yeast and so forth, but yeah, so it's very neat. So I think maybe we'll do at least a sauce for sure. And then maybe something else, talk about what else we can put on it.
Yes. Yeah, a big part of diet is your gut, right? Gut health and those kind of things. And just learning how to take better care of our gut and how our bodies process foods and those kind of things. So I think that's a big piece of that nutritional yeast as well. Your body recognizes that ingredient that's going in.
Yeah, it's full of B vitamins, which is really great, particularly for vegetarians, people that aren't getting red meat sources of B vitamins. So we're excited about that. But if anybody has ideas, I think that actually was an idea that came up in class earlier this year. So if you have a thought, hey, I'd really love to know about XYZ, I don't know, how to can pickles. I'm not sure. Maybe we wouldn't can, but something more.
And almost every other month, we have a nutritionist that also comes and does a virtual presentation on different things related to food. I believe, is it this month that she's going to be talking about foods to feed your grandchildren? Mm-hmm. We all have those questions, right? What do I feed the grandkids, or what do I feed the young children that I have at home? And she's going to give a lot of good pointers on that. I know Stephanie earlier talked about, like, when children cook and have the experience of cooking, they're more likely to try things and be involved in wanting, to try new foods and those kind of things. So yeah, Cara has a lot of really good presentations on nutrition. So,
and you might have noticed in the Chronicle too, this month in June, our own in-house nutrition coordinator, Tori, put together some information on nutrition. I'm not showing you that, but it's a part of our Chronicle. And so she's going to have another write-up in the July Chronicle. And so, food is such a big, important part of everyday life and healthy aging. So we just want to have a little opportunity here and there to try new things.
Yeah.
Oh, I can smell the cinnamon cooking. Yeah.
I suppose if we would have thought it through, maybe we would have made up one, how on those cooking shows, they throw it in the oven and 2 seconds later it's done. I'm like, oh, maybe we should have made some pita chips up ahead of time. But, the anticipation of waiting will be good. So.
But that's okay. We're not professionals.
No, not at all. No, not at all.
Oh, but we can check ours, and if you want to check yours too, we have. She put them in for a couple of minutes. Oh, there's our beeper. We'll see. It smells good. Smells like cinnamon.
Yeah, I feel like they're getting there.
And depending on your oven too, my family just recently moved, so we switched ovens, and I've discovered that this oven, the new one, cooks way hotter than the other. So if your oven runs hot, be sure to just watch it so they don't burn. Chips is not good. Not good, and it's not a good smell in the kitchen. I don't like it.
Yeah, and I'm going to go ahead and flip these a little bit.
Flip them. So if you do decide to flip them, you could do the water trick with the cinnamon and sugar on the back if you wanted to, but it's not necessary. Oh, that just looks so delicious. Yum, yum. Trying to think of what other fruits I've used in the past. If you like I might have said this already, if you like your salsa a little bit more like traditional salsa where it's almost like gelatinous a little bit, you could put a bit of jam or jelly on mixed in, maybe a tablespoon or so mixed in with your your product, and that might hold it together a little bit. But this is more like a fresh tomato salsa, right, that you would cut up right away, and it's kind of falls apart very easily. So if you don't eat it with chips, you might want to eat it with a spoon rather than a fork, because it's just going to fall apart on you. Ooh, they sound kind of crunchy.
Yeah, they're getting there. And again, things don't have to look perfect. I agree with Stephanie on the imperfection piece, because I feel like we often want things to look perfect, and they don't always have to look perfect.
Yeah, sometimes when you take your our oven has a mind of its own. When you take your your perfect little cut chips and you flip them, depending on your pan, they might break up. So you might want to start with bigger pieces if your pans stick to your food a little bit. Yeah, but these aren't perfect. But I've made this recipe and I've taken it to parties and so forth, and people just they love it. It's quick and it's easy and it's very, very healthy for you. And the thing I love about eating fruit in the summer too is just it has a little bit extra water in there too, which we all need because it's so darn hot. Too hot.
I think we could possibly pull out these top ones.
Alrighty.
They might not be quite as crunchy as, I'm sorry, I don't know why.
And if they're not crunchy but they still taste good, well, I'd eat it.
Yeah,
things don't have to be perfect, I just we just try it, right? We just try it and look at they turned out. They're kind of like flimsy and a little these I might crisp up a little bit more, but hey, let's give it a try, shall we? I'll put a little scoop on mine, a little scoop on hers, and see how it goes. Woo! A little kiwi in there. All right, let's see. Good.
Very good. They need to crisp up a little bit longer, but even eating them like that is yummy. Very good. Very good flavor.
Yeah, maybe you didn't want to turn your oven on and you didn't have a toaster oven, and because it's 9 degrees out and you don't want to heat up, you could just take a regular old whole tortilla, fill it with fruit, and just eat that. That might be a good snack too. Or just use your fruit salsa on yogurt or the things that we had talked about before. So yeah, lots and lots of choices. So certainly if you have questions, give us a shout, or you can write it in the chat. But yeah, so that's fruit salsa with homemade cinnamon sugar chips. Yeah, thanks for joining us, everybody. Have a stupendous weekend and the rest of your day.